Now, the GOMOR rebuttals that our office drafts, I mean, frankly, I'm happy to say I think are the best in the business. Because Ben Gold, the other attorney in my law firm, he is without question the best writer I've ever come across in 20 plus years of practice. He's a better writer than I am. He's a better writer than anyone I've ever had work for me. And he's a better writer than anyone I've ever come across. He is the best in the business. And I say that with all candor. It's hard for me to admit someone's better at something than I am. He's better at writing than I am.
Is it because he's more concise, he can make them shorter, or he just makes better points?
He is a wordsmith.
Okay.
And he has the ability, within the first paragraph, he draws you in. He writes these almost like a movie script. And what I mean by that is there's an opening scene in a movie that draws you in where you want to watch the movie. Okay? Almost always. And because if there's not something that draws you and makes you want to read it, it's not going to get read. Think about the audience. The audience is a 1, 2, or typically a 3-star commanding general. Is a commanding general going to read a 30-page memorandum unless it's compelling? No. Is a 1-page memorandum going to get the job done? No. And so the way Ben drafts these is he draws the reader in a way that there's a compelling narrative to everything that we do. There's a backstory. There's a protagonist. There's an antagonist. There's a backstory behind what occurred. And the way he weaves the writing together is you have to see. A non-lawyer could read these and say, wow, this is fascinating. It's highly interesting reading, and it's advocacy at its highest level. So it's not what we typically see is these are the legal elements of the offense. You didn't meet the elements. It's kind of boring reading. Right.
So a good rebuttal is almost like storytelling in legal, but with legal arguments behind it.
100%. No different than a compelling closing argument is storytelling. If you ever listen to great trial closing arguments, whether you listen to old Johnny Cochran closing arguments, whether you watch one of mine, or I think one of the best in the business that closing arguments is a guy named Mike Waddington, who's a great friend of mine. He's does what I do down in Miami. His closing arguments are phenomenal, and he wrote a book on closing arguments because they draw the audience in. It's like, have you ever gone to a conference and someone's speaking, or whether it's a class, and after 10 minutes, like, wah, 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 like the Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
No one's listening. Everyone's tuned out. You're trying to think of what you're doing next. You're half asleep. There are so many closing arguments in trial that are like that, and you lose the jury. And so you have to be a compelling storyteller. And if you're a compelling storyteller and can weave the story together in a compelling way that stays true to the facts, where at the end, the audience in a trial, it's a jury, says, I'm the star of the show. The jury's because I can right this wrong. I now have the power as a juror to right this wrong, to fix this injustice, or to take action somehow. That's how you get juries to act, as opposed to just giving them the elements. So if you can then do that in written format, in a compelling narrative that is at a high enough level where you can do that at a level for a commanding general, a 2 or 3 star, and that's exceptionally difficult to do, you're going to win.